Gene pocketed his phone and signaled to Lee. The deal was done. Another shipment secured, another rival warned off. Just another Thursday night at the Ivory Club in London. "We're leaving," Gene said, buttoning his suit jacket. The bass pounded through the VIP section, but he barely heard it anymore. Just noise. Just business. Lee nodded and started moving toward the exit. Gene followed, weaving through the crowd on the main floor. That's when he saw her. She moved like water through fire. Her dark skin gleamed under the strobe lights. Her body rolled with the music, hips swaying in a way that made every man in the room stop and stare. But she wasn't looking at them. She was looking directly at Gene. Their eyes locked. She smiled, started walking toward him. Gene froze. Lee turned back, confused. "Boss." She slipped past the velvet rope before any of the guards could react. Gene raised one hand sharply. Everyone stopped. She walked right up to him. Didn't say a word. Just turned around and pressed her back against his chest. Started grinding to the beat. Fire exploded through Jin's body. His heart slammed against his ribs. His breath caught in his throat. His hands hung frozen at his sides. For 10 years, he'd felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. His father had trained out of him. Feel nothing, need nothing, want nothing. Be ice, not fire. But this woman was melting him. She looked over her shoulder, her lips dangerously close to his ear. "What's wrong?" Big bad Mafia Boss, never been rocked before. Gene still couldn't speak, couldn't move, just stared at the curve of her neck, the challenge in her eyes, the way her body felt against his. She laughed softly, then stepped away. "Thanks for the dance." She disappeared into the crowd. Gene stood there, his entire world tilted off its axis. Lee touched his arm. "Boss, are you all right?" Jin's jaw tightened. His voice came out rough. "Find out who she is. Everything." The next morning, Lee brought him a file. Arabella King, 26, professional dancer. Moved to London from Birmingham 3 years ago. Single. No criminal record. No connections to any families. Clean. Too clean. Gene went back to the Ivory Club that night. And the next. And the next. She wasn't there. By the fourth night, he was losing his mind. He'd killed men without blinking. He'd built an empire on blood and fear. But one woman had walked away, and he couldn't think straight. Then she appeared. Same confidence. Same devastating smile. She walked straight through the crowd to the VIP section like she owned it. Sat down beside him without asking. "Miss me?" she asked. "You know I did." She leaned back, studying him. "Why?" "Because you made me feel something I haven't felt in 10 years. "And what's that?" "Alive." Her eyes widened slightly. She hadn't expected honesty. "You're serious." "I don't joke about things that matter." She bit her lip, considering him. "What do you want from me, Gene?" "Your name. Your number. A conversation that doesn't end with you running away." "I didn't run. I walked." "Semantics." She laughed. It was a beautiful sound. "One drink. Here. Now. Then I decide if you get more." They talked for 2 hours. She told him about growing up in Birmingham, about her father and British mother, about dancing since she was 5 years old, about dreaming of performing on the West End. "What happened to that dream?" Gene asked. She shrugged. "Life. Bills. Reality. I dance in clubs now. It pays better than auditions that go nowhere." "You're better than clubs." "Maybe. But clubs don't tell you you're not quite what they're looking for." She looked at him carefully. "What about you? How does someone become this?" "Born into it. My father ran the Korean syndicate in London. When he died, I inherited it. I was 19. That's so young. That's life of my world." He paused, surprised to find himself wanting to tell her more. "He taught me one thing before he died. Feel nothing, need nothing, want nothing. Be ice, not fire. In this world, feelings get you killed." She reached across the table and touched his hand. Just a simple touch, but it burned through him like electricity. "Sounds lonely," she said softly. Gene stared at her hand on his. "It is." She pulled back and stood up. I should go. Arabella, wait. This was nice, Jean. Really. But I'm not stupid. Your world is dangerous. People die around you. I can't. She stopped, looking pained. I would never let anything happen to you. You can't promise that. Nobody can. She looked sad now. Good night, Jean. She walked away. Jean let her go, but everything in him screamed to follow. 3 days passed. Jean couldn't focus on anything. Couldn't sleep. His mind kept replaying that conversation, the way she'd looked at him, the warmth of her hand on his. Lee noticed. Boss, you've been checking your phone constantly. The deal with the Italians. His handle, Jean snapped. Is it because you've been distracted all week? Jean looked up sharply. Lee was right. He was falling apart over a woman he'd spent one evening with. A distracted leader was a dead leader. If you want her, go get her, Lee said quietly. But decide, because this half-in, half-out thing, it's not you. That night, Jean went to the club where Arabella worked. He waited in the car park until her shift ended. When she came out, he was leaning against his car. She jumped. Jesus, you scared me. I am sorry. Are you stalking me now? Yes. She blinked, surprised by his honesty. At least you're upfront about it. I can't stop thinking about you, Jean said. I've tried. I can't do it. Jean, I know you're scared. I know what I am. But I'm asking for one chance. One real date. Let me show you I'm more than just the violence. She crossed her arms, studying him in the dim light. Why me? You can have anyone. Any woman in London would fall at your feet. Because everyone else wants the power, the money, the fear, the status. He stepped closer. You just want to dance. You see me, not what I can do for you, not what I can give you, just me. Her expression softened. She was quiet for a long moment, then sighed. One date, but somewhere normal. No clubs, no VIP sections, no bodyguards. Just you being a regular person. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up. She nodded slowly. Okay, but Jean, if you bring security or turn this into some mafia power play, I'm walking away and you won't get another chance. I promise. Just me. The next evening, Jean showed up at her flat in a regular car. No driver. No security detail. Just him in dark jeans and a black jumper. When she opened the door, she actually laughed. What? He asked. You look so normal. I didn't think you owned regular clothes. Should I have worn the suit? God, no. I like this. She smiled, and Jean felt that warmth spread through his chest again. Where are we going? He took her to a small Italian restaurant in Notting Hill. No reserved tables, no special treatment. They sat in a corner booth like any normal couple on a date. Over pasta and wine, they really talked. Not surface conversation, but real things. She told him about her father, who'd worked security for a criminal organization and been killed when she was 12. They'd never found his body. That's why you're scared of my world, Jean said quietly. Yes, I watched my mother fall apart after he died. Watched her drink herself to death over 5 years because she couldn't handle the not knowing. The wondering if he'd suffered, if he'd thought of us at the end. Tears filled her eyes. So yes, when I look at you, I see the danger. I see what that life costs. Jean reached across the table and took her hand. I am sorry. I'm sorry that happened to you. It's not your fault. No, but I'm part of that world. The world that took him from you. He squeezed her hand. Tell me something. What do you see when you look at me? Besides the danger. She was quiet for a moment, really looking at him. I see someone who's drowning and doesn't know how to ask for help. Someone who's been told his whole life to be hard and cold. But underneath that, there's something else. Something warm. Something human. She wiped her eyes. And I see someone who's never been shown that it's okay to feel things. Jean couldn't speak. No one had ever seen him like that. No one had looked past the monster his father had created. I don't know if I can save you from your life, she whispered. But God help me, I want to try. Jean stood up, walked around the table, and pulled her to her feet. He kissed her, deep and desperate and real. When they broke apart, she was crying. I'm going to get out. Jean said against her forehead. I don't know how yet, but I will. I promise you that. For you. For us. For the life I want to have with you. That's a huge promise, Jean. I keep my promises. She kissed him again. Then I'm holding you to it. The next 3 weeks were the happiest of Jin's life. He saw Arabella every day. They walked along the Thames at sunset. Had picnics in Hyde Park where she taught him about normal things, simple things he'd never experienced. She taught him how to really dance, not the grinding of clubs, but actual partner dancing. He made her laugh until she cried. She made him feel like a human being instead of a weapon. But his world kept intruding. A rival family attacked one of his warehouses. The serpents made moves on his territory in East London. His business partner Marco kept pushing him about a major deal coming up. You're getting soft, Marco said one morning, standing in Jin's office. The men are noticing. Let them notice. This isn't a game, Jean. We have real enemies who are watching for any sign of weakness. I'm not weak. Marco picked up the photo of Arabella that now sat on Jin's desk. He studied it with a cold smile. No? Then prove it. The shipment arrives next Friday. The serpents will try to take it. We need you sharp, focused, ready to do what needs to be done. I said I'll handle it. Marco set the photo down carefully. I hope so, because if you can't lead anymore, someone else will have to step up. After Marco left, Jean sat in silence, staring at Arabella's picture. Lee came in quietly. He's planning something, Lee said. I can feel it. He doesn't like that you're changing. I know. What are you going to do? Jean looked up at his most trusted friend. I'm going to get out. Sell the business. Walk away. I'm done, Lee. Lee's eyes widened. Boss. I mean it. I want a real life. With her. I want to wake up and not wonder if I'll die that day. I want normal. And I'm going to take it. That night, Jean went to Arabella's flat. The moment she opened the door, she knew something was different. What happened? She asked. I told Lee I'm getting out. I'm selling everything. Walking away from all of it. Her hand flew to her mouth. Jean, are you serious? Completely. It won't happen overnight. These things take time, careful planning. But I'm done, Arabella. I choose you. I choose us. I choose the life we can have together. She threw her arms around his neck, crying. I love you. God, I love you so much. I love you too. He held her tight. I should have said it sooner, but I love you, Arabella King. You've saved my life without even knowing it. They held each other for a long time. That night, they stayed up talking about the future, about where they'd go, what they'd do. She wanted to finally audition for real dance companies. He wanted to start something legitimate, maybe security consulting, something that used his skills without the violence. We could leave London, she said, curled against his chest on her couch. Start fresh somewhere new. Anywhere you want. Paris, New York, Ottawa. Name it and we'll go. She smiled up at him. I just want to be with you. Location doesn't matter. Then we'll figure it out together. But things started moving wrong. Over the next week, Jean noticed Marco pulling away from him, having private meetings with other members of the organization. Whispering stopped when Jean entered rooms. Lee confirmed his suspicions. Marco's making a play. He's telling people you're weak now, compromised. He's gathering support to take over. Let him. I'm leaving anyway. Boss, it's not that simple. He won't let you just walk away. You know too much. You're too dangerous to him if you're alive and outside his control. Jean felt ice run through his veins. Lee was right. Marco would see him leaving as a threat. We need to move faster, Jean said. Is the buyer still interested? Yes, but the transfer will take at least another 2 weeks. Documents, payments, all of it has to be clean. We don't have 2 weeks. Then what do we do? Jean thought for a long moment. We make him think I'm still committed. I do the Friday shipment deal. Show him I'm still the boss. Then the moment the sale goes through, we disappear. That's risky. Everything's risky now. Jean didn't tell Arabella about Marco's betrayal. Didn't want to scare her. But she sensed something was wrong. On Thursday night, she confronted him at his penthouse. What aren't you telling me? Nothing. Everything's fine. Don't lie to me, Jean. I can see it in your eyes. Something's wrong. He pulled her close. There are complications with getting out, but I'm handling them. I promise you, in 2 weeks, we're gone. New life, new start, everything we talked about. I'm scared, she whispered against his chest. I know, but trust me. Have I ever broken a promise to you? No, and I won't start now. He tilted her chin up and kissed her softly. 2 weeks, baby. That's all. Just 2 more weeks. Friday came. Jean went to handle the shipment deal with Marco and the others. It went smoothly, no issues with the serpents. Marco seemed satisfied, less suspicious. Jean played his part perfectly, the cold boss, all business. When he got back that night, Arabella was waiting at his penthouse. She made dinner, lit candles. She was wearing a beautiful dress he'd never seen before. What's all this? He asked, smiling. I wanted to do something special, to celebrate us, our future. She came to him, wrapped her arms around his neck. Dance with me. She put on soft music. They swayed together in his living room, her head on his chest, his arms tight around her. It was perfect, peaceful, everything he never thought he could have. I have an idea, Jean said suddenly. What? Come with me. He drove them to the Ivory Club. It was closed for a private event, but Jean still had keys. He let them in. The place was empty, dark except for the emergency lights. Why are we here? Arabella asked. Jean turned on some of the lights. Soft music started playing from a sound system. He led her to the center of the main floor, the same spot where they'd first danced. This is where it all started, he said, where you walked up to me and changed my entire life, where I felt something for the first time in 10 years. Tears filled her eyes. Jean, he got down on one knee. She gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Arabella King, Jean said, his voice steady despite his hammering heart. You rocked my world that first night. You made me feel alive. You showed me there's more to life than violence and power and fear. You gave me hope for a real future, a real life. He pulled out a ring from his pocket. Marry me. Be my wife. Let me spend the rest of my life making you happy. She stared at him, tears streaming down her face. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked at the ring, then at his face, then back at the ring. More tears fell. Jin's heart hammered in his chest. Why wasn't she answering? Arabella, he said softly. She took a shaky breath. Jean, She pressed her trembling hand to her mouth. There's something I need to tell you first. Something important. I should have told you before, but I was scared and I didn't know how you'd react. And the gunshot shattered the silence. Glass exploded behind them. Jean shoved Arabella to the floor, covering her body with his. More gunshots. Bullets tore through the air where they'd just been standing. Stay down, Jean shouted. He looked up, trying to see where the shots were coming from. The emergency exit door was open. Figures moving in the darkness. At least 3, maybe more. Another barrage of gunfire. The mirror behind the bar exploded. Bottles shattered. Jean pulled Arabella toward the bar for cover. She was shaking, gasping for air. What's happening? She cried. Marco Hingrolith. He found out. Drop a comment below. What do you think Arabella's secret is? And will Jean survive this attack? Part 2 coming soon. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Comment where you are watching from.